Hello, Abigail here with the astrology of this week. And this week, y'all, it's a balm. So, this week is one of the nicest weeks we've had in a long time. It's also the precursor to heading into eclipse season and the last week of Leo season. Also, the only week in Leo season that we get no Mercury retrograde. Yes, Mercury will be traveling back through the can't tell. I'm recording this on a Mercury retrograde. Mercury will be transiting back through the degrees that it was passing through. So we are in the post retrograde shadow. We're still working through things, but we're not still digging things up. So that's bright side. And also we have some of the prettiest astrology of this kind of summer here. And honestly, considering the astrology of the year, another one of the one of the smoother days, but also smoother weeks. This week is very specifically um, kind of centered on benefic astrology. There's not a whole lot happening, which is a relief after the weekend where we will have experienced Mars opposing Saturn and Neptune, Mars in the grand trine with Pluto and Uranus, some of the two titans of the astrological world. So a much needed respite on Monday. Mercury stations direct at 3:30 a.m. at 4 degrees of Leo. Check out if you have any planets within 5 degrees of 4 degrees of Leo. They are being impacted and will feel the pressure. I have my Mars there. Should be fun. So that Monday we have that station. Know that stations are tricky. They get a little sticky and they feel like that moment where you're ready to go, but things aren't ready to go. And so you're kind of pushing against an energy that feels frustrating. So let Monday be what it is, knowing that Tuesday kind of kicks off a halcyon era where we get to enjoy and center and expand instead of constantly feeling this constriction and opposition and resistance to things, especially after the full moon in Aquarius, which also happened right before this. So just know that this week is much smoother. It's also, like I said, our last week, not our last week before we head into eclipses. Now, we don't immediately hit the eclipses. We have a 0 degree Virgo new moon before the other two eclipses, but this means that there are 3 moons within Virgo season. And that new moon is at 0 degrees and is going to pack quite the punch. So know that even though we don't get straight into eclipses and we don't instantly lead into an eclipse, know that that new moon is going to kick it off in a big way. And what I find with eclipses is very much kind of like a peak valley deal, except you have an eclipse and it kind of loops and then you have the final runoff. So it's like up to that first initial eclipse, some kind of journey in between the two eclipses. I find sometimes that it's not the eclipses themselves, but the portal in between that makes things hectic. And then kind of the runoff from eclipse season, which will then lead us into Libra season. So just be aware that this is kind of think of it as like a break in a video game where you go stock up on stuff and trade and upgrade your armor and pack your bags and things like that. It's one of those kind of like we get to chill before we go on another journey, but don't discount it just because we're going to be kicking right back into some intense astrology. Really enjoy this week because on Tuesday we have the Jupiter Venus conjunction in Cancer. Venus and Jupiter are thrilled to be in Cancer. Venus just enjoys it and gets to kind of connect to the more tender comfort focus levels because Venus in Taurus and Venus in Libra are still very active, getting things done and enjoying the good life and making sure that they're proactive in relationship. But I find that Venus in Cancer is about comfort and settling in and creating spaces where people feel cared for. And yeah, in our society, that can lead to overwhelm and stress, but in a healthy Cancer Venus dynamic, it is a joy to create that environment. And it's not just all labor that's unreciprocated. That's why I didn't go straight into going into it's the mother archetype, because unfortunately in society, motherhood has been weaponized and stigmatized and honestly poisoned to create a form of oppression for people with uteruses and people who caregive. And a lot of that's also tied to slavery, which everything is. So unpack any of that if you need to. But this is a really lovely moment where the two benefics, Jupiter and Venus, meet. It's great for relationships, it's great for stress and pressure release, um, because everything else are in different signs. And this is like mid degree. We're not really having to interact. We're not really under the orb of Saturn and Neptune. You know, there's nothing really happening in a big way in opposition at this moment because Pluto's finally out of there. So it's a really great, Mars hasn't made it to its, square yet. So this is a really kind of free, beautiful moment where good things can happen. Depending on where it is in your chart, it's gonna be great for like jobs. Mercury is stationed direct, so communication's a lot easier. It can just be a great moment to really spend time with people you care about and take some time to connect with your feelings, especially when it comes to engagement with others and to how you receive care and how you give care. And the Venus likes to kind of swim around and enjoy. So if you can get near the water, it's really going to be nice for this week. And then the kind of then there's kind of a day that, unless you follow the moon cycles, you would know about, where we're still in this moment. So it would be the next day on Wednesday. We're still in this moment of Jupiter and Venus, but the moon is now lovely as it is headed into a great sign for them. So on the 13th, we get a really pretty moment where some things are kind of harmonizing and feeling a little better. Oops, my little my low battery sign showed up. Yes, these are chaotic. I'm exhausted. Also, today that I'm recording is the death day of someone very dear to me. So we're holding it together. Um, but yeah, we get a really lovely um, lunar moment here where the moon is in Taurus and it's harmonizing with that energy. And so we really get to experience, sorry, my face is itchy. We really get to experience the benefic generosity of where these placements are. And speaking of which, now I'm not even sure that I've got the dates correct. Y'all, this is going to be hectic. I'm going to be looking it up while I record this, and I'm not recording this video. Sorry. I can't do it. Now I'm just questioning where the moon is going to be at that day. Please tell me I'm right. Okay. Do my research. Okay. So I was off wrong with the day. It's not, sorry folks. It's not the 13th. It is the 15th. So I'm glad I checked. On the 15th, we have this really lovely, beautiful sextile to Jupiter and Venus. And it's going to create this kind of extended period of a few days between the 12th and even a little bit in the 11th after the station happens, where we really get to at least feel energetically better. Some relational, emotional stuff is going to have been cleared with that full moon. And so we now have the space to kind of enjoy some things. Also, if you've been experiencing relational upheaval, this might be a reconnection or a grounding for you. And if it isn't, then maybe make it that. And then last but not least, we have Venus trine the North Node. And while these can be a little chaotic, it is about progress. It is about change. It's about shifting dynamics. And I think it's really going to be beneficial coming off of that full moon where we've had to clear so many things, start to face our own programming and indoctrination around relationships and around community and around how we have to function in the world, to where this Venus North Node is a moment to see things with new eyes, to believe in change and shifts, to adjust expectations, not necessarily, adjust what you want, but adjust how things have to be. Know that connection and community and relational joy doesn't have to show up in a traditional way for it to have value and for it to be real and wonderful. And we have to decolonize and deconstruct our relational styles and habits unless we were raised by very unique people. And this week is an opportunity to do that, but to do it instead of doing it in like a laborious, painful way, there's like a freedom and a release around these topics, allowing us to kind of breathe into the energy rather than be tossed aside. And then the next week, like I said, we're building into Virgo season, which is eclipse season, all those things, but enjoy this moment, enjoy this week, and really give yourself the space and time to experience this energy. Um, but yes, have a blessed week. Um, as always, please like and subscribe, and you can comment or ask me questions here on Instagram or anywhere else. Anyways, I love you all, and I will see you later.